years. I was living in New York City. I was working a job I really enjoyed. I was just looking forward to my future. Then, one day I found a breast lump. Like everyone who hasn't been living under a rock for the past 40 years, I was aware of breast cancer. My own grandmother had battled it in the 80s. Neither breast cancer nor mastectomy were unspoken words in the house I grew up in. But I didn't understand then that people still died of breast cancer. I thought that if you were responsible about your health and did all your treatment, you would survive. To me, the only people who didn't survive were the ones who didn't visit the doctor or look after their health. I didn't fit into that category. I figured it was very unlikely due to my age that I had cancer, being in my 20s, but if I did, I would be rid of it quickly and moving on with my life. I was very shocked then to be staged at stage 3C after I had supposedly done everything right. But according to my doctors, I was still curable if I underwent a grueling regimen of chemo, targeted therapy, surgery, radiation, and hormone therapy. I took comfort in that. I learned about metastatic breast cancer from the internet. I knew a little bit about MBC, but I didn't think I had to worry about it going forward because my baseline scans were clear for distant disease in my body. Then I learned that up to 30% of those diagnosed with stage 0 to 3 breast cancer will at some point develop metastatic breast cancer. Maybe a few months after treatment, like what happened to me, or maybe 30 years in the future. No one who has been diagnosed with breast cancer initially is ever truly free of the worry that they will one day develop metastatic disease. Given my initial staging, those statistics really scared me. And because I was so young, I learned that being young actually increased my risk of developing metastatic breast cancer because young women actually have much more aggressive disease. So with all those things said, I knew I was inching towards the higher end of the bad odds. With my mortality staring me in the face, I threw myself into treatment. I had 3 different chemo drugs and 2 different targeted therapies for a total of 16 rounds of treatment. I had a mastectomy. I had 33 rounds of radiation. I topped it off by having 14 rounds of an aggressive targeted therapy through a clinical trial and willingly shut down all the estrogen in my body to try and keep the cancer away. A little over 2 years after my initial diagnosis, I underwent a brain scan for some mild but concerning symptoms, and it came back showing 3 tumors in my brain. I had surgery, radiation, more clinical trials, and I took drugs that would hopefully cross the tricky blood-brain barrier and kill the cancer in my brain. That was the beginning of 2016 when I was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer in the brain. I am still here and I want to keep being here. I knew before my diagnosis of metastatic breast cancer that I was likely living on borrowed time, but afterwards the clock started ticking faster. And I've been on multiple treatment lines. I just started a new clinical trial. I am so grateful for how much research has already helped me, and I'm hopeful for what research will do for me in the future. In 1 month and 6 days, I will turn 33. I am so grateful to be here to see it. Many others have not been so lucky. But there's still a lot more I want to do with my future. I want to travel more. I want to have a family. So many in this room have similar hopes and dreams. April Hines did. She was my friend, my fellow advocate, and my mentor. We both got married after being diagnosed and would text about how much we wanted to grow old with our husbands. April died last night. She was only 37. She was originally diagnosed with stage 2 cancer at 31 and did every single treatment available to her. One thing that struck me about April is that no matter what, even if she was on harshest chemo, even if she was exhausted and in pain, she showed up 100% and she was the best advocate she could be. So tonight I am asking you to show up, not just for dinner and dancing, but as allies, educators, and proponents of life-saving research. Do it in honor of April and everything she stood for. Thank you for coming tonight and thank you for your support.